For that call, Clay, 813-239-9663 if you'd like to join the conversation. And speaking of trends in parties, this doesn't have to do with people switching at the election, at the primary election or anything, but more and more Floridians are opting to register to vote outside the two main political parties. As of the end of November, on the State Division of Elections website, it says that there were nearly 2.9 million people registered in Florida without a party affiliation, and another third of a million in parties other than the Republican or Democratic parties. And you told us that that these numbers are also increasing in Hillsborough County. I don't know if you feel comfortable in saying why you think that that's happening.
Well, there's a lot of speculation, and that's all I can really tell you. I know that, I've seen articles, and we know that a lot of our younger voters tend to maybe not, want to be affiliated with a party. They either haven't made a decision or they just don't want to be affiliated with a party. I know there was a large article in the St. Pete Times that spoke directly to that. But again, I guess it goes back to personal preference and what people want to do and what they feel about.
813-239-9663. We have Eric in Tampa on the line. Hi, Eric. Very good. How are you?
Voter lines that we had in the last election. Again, and if you can answer, I'll take my answer up there.
Thanks, Eric.
Absolutely, and Eric, thank you for pointing that out, but I'd like to point out to you too that Hillsborough County was pointed out by the Secretary of State as the large county that got it right in the 2012 election, because we did not have any lines. As a matter of fact, we had finished tabulating all our results by 10:30 on election night and had reported those results. Now, having said that, there was some counties that did in fact have lines, and I think there was a lot of reasons that occurred in these particular jurisdictions. But again, I think it goes back to we encourage people to try and pick the method of voting that you want to use. And I encourage people, I don't know if you heard me say before, don't wait till election day. There's no reason at all that you can't take advantage of early voting if you want to be in-person voting. Early voting is exactly like going to your polling site on election day. You're going to still, cast your ballot. It's an optical scan ballot. You're going to bubble it in and you feed it into the machine, and you're going to see right there that it was accepted. And if you want to vote by mail, which again is an extremely popular method, we had more people voted by mail in the 2012 election than early voted. And then, of course, the remainder of the people that voted on election day had a nice, smooth day without lines and interruption.
Thank you for that call, Eric. Our guest is Craig Latimer, Hillsborough County Supervisor of Elections. You're listening to Midpoint. I'm Seán, the host of Midpoint Monday. It's 12:37 in the afternoon. Craig, Hillsborough County has some new voting equipment that it's going to be rolling out at all the polling places. Tell us about those. It's not going to be a drastic difference like we saw maybe after the 2000 election. It's going to look similar, but they're brand new machines.
That's correct, and thank you very much. We've purchased brand new optical scan equipment, and as you said, this is going to be seamless for the voter. You're going to bubble in the exact same ballot, and you're going to walk up and feed it into a machine. The biggest difference now is that this is going to have about a 12-inch screen on it that you're able to see that your vote was accepted, or if there was an issue that you overvoted in a race, it's going to tell you that.
Overvotes means you've put too
many. You voted for too many people in a particular race. Thank you. And so this equipment, like I say, is going to be seamless for the voter. Having said that, tomorrow at 9 a.m. at our Northwest Regional Office out on Gun Highway, we're actually having an open house, and we will be demonstrating that equipment there. And then also we're going to be doing that at the county center on Wednesday. From about 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, we'll be demonstrating the equipment in the lobby of the county center downtown. And we also will be, of course, doing that out at our Election Service Center on Falkenberg and at our regional office in southeast Hillsborough County, Southeast Hillsborough County will be on February 4th. Again, this is going to be seamless to the voter, but we're excited about it because it's some of the latest technology. We feel it's extremely reliable equipment, and we're really looking forward to it.
So if I decide I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton in this election, I'll put my ballot in and it'll spit it right out and say, are you sure? Is that really what you want to do? Because it won't be counted.
That's correct. It's going to tell you that you have overvoted in this particular race, and then you can, you as a voter, make a decision whether you want to send it on through anyway or you want to go back, which you can do. And that's another great point. If you make a mistake on your ballot in the polling site, all you have to do is take that ballot back to the clerk, and we will spoil that ballot. It's a procedure that we go through so that it's not going to go anywhere. It's put into a special envelope and set off the side, and they will give you a new ballot. And the same way, if you get a vote by mail ballot at your house and you make a mistake on it, you can contact our office, and we're going to send you another ballot, and we're going to cancel the first ballot that you got.
And with these new optical scanners, is there a paper trail, a record that will be kept in case there needs to be a hand audit?
Yes, and that's, when we went to the optical scan in 2008, the legislature required every county in the state to utilize the optical scan. And the concept behind that was there is, in fact, a paper trail because we have a paper ballot. And again, by law, we have to retain those ballots for a period of time after the election. But I can tell you from my standpoint, it's fantastic because, we're dealing with computerized equipment. And every once in a while, I'm sure that you've had the misfortune of turning on your computer and it didn't work right or something happened. So if that occurs, we have the ability to reprocess those ballots and produce the results again. And again, there's a tremendous amount of accounting balances and audits that go in place to make sure that this is done in a proper method.
813-239-9663 if you'd like to call in and ask your question or comment of Hillsborough County Supervisor of Elections Craig Latimer. David from Port Richey. Hi, David. What would you like to ask?
Just put back and forth, which is what I've done. Now, I did want to ask, I registered, changed my registration about 2 weeks ago, and I just want to make sure I have the proper ID. I should be getting something in the mail, yes?
You should be receiving a new voter information card with that information on it, yes. Well, and let me point out to you that the voter information card is something that's sent to the voter, and that's what it's called, a voter information card. And the information on there is generally, who your different representatives are by district that you're able to vote for. When you go to the polling site, you're going to be required to produce photo signature ID in the form of a driver's license, military ID. So. Yeah, and again, I'm sorry. Which county are you from? Pasco. Yeah, check with Pasco County and make sure that you should be able to go on their website and see if your registration's been updated.
Yeah, check before February 16th, though, right?
Yeah. It should be, yes. The information you updated should be on the card.
David, thank you for your call. I want to read a text message from the 813 area code. This person says, it's a shame that Florida makes you choose a party to be able to vote in the primary. However, it's ridiculous to sign up as an independent because you can vote any way you want once you get there. But if you don't sign up as a particular party, you cannot vote in the primary, which is so important. So I think what this person's trying to say is that even independents kind of have to make a choice if they want to vote in the presidential primary.
Well, again, in the presidential preference primary, because Florida is a closed primary state, then you can only vote in the major party, either Democrat or Republican Party. And there is, there's a lot of states, or not a lot of states, but there's other states that have open primaries where you can go in and declare that day who you want to vote for, or you can just go in and vote for other people. Those are legislative changes that need to take place from Tallahassee. So it's certainly not something that an individual supervisor of election can impact. That's something that's going to have to be changed legislatively.
And the supervisors of elections for the 67 counties, you have an organization, right? Are there laws or suggestions that you're pushing to the legislators in Tallahassee to make it easier for people to vote?
We actually, yes, we've asked to add 2 more types of photo signature ID to the list, and I think Florida's got a good law when it comes to photo signature ID, because there's certainly a tremendous amount of choices that you can make to be able to vote. So I don't think you're prohibited by anything. I mean, you can even use a credit card that has a photo and a signature on it as one of your forms of identification. Your driver's license, a Florida ID card, military, student ID. I mean, there's a tremendous amount that people can use. I will point out, though, too, to your question, this last legislative session, the Florida State Association of Supervisors of Election was very instrumental in pushing through online voter registration. And this will actually go into effect in 2017, where people will be able to go directly onto the website, register to vote. Now, it's not done haphazard either, though, because the information is verified, and then the signature that's on file with the driver's license is what will be imported into our files. But you will be able to register online. There's 22 other states that already do that. It's really great. We think that it's going to help with registrations and increasing those numbers. So we're looking forward to that. And again, that was something that the Florida State Association pushed. We also this year have been trying to push a little bit of legislation to make the voter rolls not as public record as they are. And there's people on both sides of that, and I certainly understand that. But one of the things that we can do is that we can pre-register 16-year-olds. As a matter of fact, we're required to go into the high schools and give the opportunity for 16-year-olds to pre-register, and then when they turn 18, they're sent a voter information card. Currently, that information is not protected. So, if you've got a 16 or 17-year-old student at your house, their information is out there. And people get concerned about that, and I certainly respect. We do everything we can to keep a ballot a secret ballot, and as far as I'm concerned, a vote is sacred. But I also think the information of those voters is something that we should certainly protect also.
And that information can be used, say the email addresses, to essentially get that for marketing or for spamming purposes. That's possible, right?
Well, and it's got your name and address, right off the bat, and all the specifics about you as far as race, sex, things like that. So.
813-239-9663. If you have a question or comments about elections, our guest is Craig Latimer, Hillsborough County Supervisor of Elections. It's 12:48 in the afternoon. We have about 13 minutes left in the show. Let's go to Kathy in Sarasota. Hi, Kathy. You're on the air. What would you like to say?
Talked about how a method with your new system that you can prevent overload.
Thank you for the call, Kathy.
Thank you. And again, The ballot is laid out by statute and rule from the Division of Election, and that's again where that would be. I know there's been a lot of conversation about none of the above, that type of thing, and currently our legislature has not allowed that to occur. Again, the ballot is very specific in how it's designed, so that it's not confusing in any way, and trying to make it readily readable by the voter. To your other question, kind of interesting, one thing that always amazes me in Hillsborough County, in a presidential year, it is not unusual for us to get a 50,000 vote drop from president to then the local races, which to me is very interesting, because I've always been of the opinion that your local legislators impact you and your wallet a lot more than it often happens at the federal level. So it is interesting that some people just don't care to vote for other races like that. So they obviously have undervoted in a tremendous number of races.
So maybe a practical answer to Kathy's question is that if the machine alerted you every time there was an undervote, it might stop every ballot, or just about every ballot.
Yeah, it would slow down the process greatly.
All right, thank you for that question, Kathy. Let's go to Roger in Manatee County. Hi, Roger.
Absolutely. And again, I would tell you everything we do is, by statute. There's not a literary license to run elections any way an individual supervisor wants to. Well, and I know what your point is, sir, and I will tell you that A, I'm a constitutional officer, and B, what I do is mandated by state statute, which I have taken an oath to uphold. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution, yes, sir.
Right, thank you, Roger. Let's see what Craig's response is to that.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with the People's Grand Jury that you're talking about, and I will continue to follow the state statute, as will the other 67 supervisors of election.
Roger, thank you for that call. We're going to go on to an email right now. Cindy is asking, what is the status of online voting in Florida? So we're going to have online registration next year. What about online voting?
Yeah, currently, again, that's not allowed by law, and it would take a legislative change to have online voting. I'm not aware of any state in the country right now that has actual online voting. There has been some pilots and some different things that have been tried, and I know that there's a tremendous amount that we do with the military. For instance, and this is probably some news that people aren't aware of, but to what we call an overseas voter, military overseas, we can deliver them a ballot by mail, by email, or by fax. They can return that ballot by fax with a signed oath or by mail, but cannot currently return it by email. So again, it goes back to voting online.
So even if they had a PDF scan of their ballot and they emailed that to you, that's not right now, that's not eligible.
Unacceptable. It would have to come in a fax.
And all right, well, thank you. Thanks for that question from Cindy. And let's see what this person in the 941 area code is asking. In this text, this person says, I tried to use my passport ID and they would not allow that. They would have to take my passport. They would not take my passport ID at the polls. I'm not sure I'm getting the gist of it unless it's as simple as this person showed their passport and that was not acceptable. Is that true?
It is acceptable.
That's what